In making plans to see the movie 6 Weeks, you will need to include taking a box of Kleenex. It's a real tearjerker. The movie is sad, it's also sweet, sensitive, funny, emotional, and very moving. 6 Weeks combines all the emotions in a powerful way. It's the kind of story that will make you laugh and cry at the same time. We see how two opposite people are brought together by a catalyst, that catalyst being a little girl. Dudley Moore portrays Patrick Dalton, a dark horse running for Congress from California. On his way to a fundraiser, he becomes lost and has to ask a young girl for directions. The girl, Nikki, is played by Catherine Healy.
Will I give you a lift?
No, thanks. Some men are attracted to girls my age.
I beg your pardon?
That's why I can't get in.
Oh, I see.
Are you?
What?
Attracted to me.
No.
Think I have potential?
As a what?
Attractive woman.
You by any chance, undercover policeman?
Just curious.
Do you know Arnold Stillman?
Very well.
What sort of guy is he?
You don't know?
No.
Jerk.
I think I do find you attractive.
This is the beginning of a very sweet and special relationship. Nikki's mother is Charlotte Dreyfus, played by Mary Tyler Moore. She's the head of a cosmetics empire. Now, although little Nikki and Patrick get along great at first, that is certainly not the case between Patrick and Charlotte Dreyfus. She thinks Patrick has pretended interest in her daughter just to get into her pocketbook, but that is far from the truth. Dalton and Mrs. Dreyfus are eventually brought together in an unexpected romance. Nikki, of course, is the main reason for them being together. Nikki has leukemia, and if she's lucky, she'll make it long enough to see Patrick elected in January. Nikki has her dreams and goals. She has determination and courage. The three become an impromptu family. Now, in life, we not only have the joys, but the conflicts. In this case, it's Patrick's wife and son. He's bound to them by duty and love. And this situation proves embarrassing when Patrick's wife and son show up unexpectedly at Mrs. Dreyfus's house. Mary Tyler Moore and Dudley Moore are wonderful and very believable in their roles. Most impressive is Catherine Healy. She brings a fresh, sweet quality to the screen. An accomplished ballet dancer off-screen, she is, needless to say, great in the Nutcracker Dance Suite. On my rating scale, 6 Weeks rates a 7. There are a couple of minor flaws in the script. Some unanswered questions make for some interesting loopholes. The musical score, written and performed by Dudley Moore, is good and adds greatly to the mood of the movie. Tony Bill's directing works very well. Overall, the film is impressive. The theme of the movie is sad, I'll admit that, but there is a joy, a celebration of love and life that engulfs the entire picture. One of Nikki's dreams was to be part of a family, and although Charlotte, Patrick, and her were together for only 6 weeks, the love between them will go on forever. 6 Weeks is about life and how we should live it to the fullest. The film's about real people and real situations, coping with the conflicts, enjoying the good times, being thankful. And on a personal note, I'd like to wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm Dino Lawley. Let me say, Airplane 2, the sequel, would have been funnier had there been no Airplane 1. Now, a lot of the jokes in the sequel are continuations of the jokes in the original. The energy level, the action, the pacing are about the same. Now, we, of course, have some new characters, but many of the old crew are back. Robert Hayes as Ted Stryker, the uncoordinated but likable pilot. Julie Haggerty as the dingy girlfriend. Both are good in this film, but I could sense a feeling of them trying too hard to be funny, as compared to the free, easygoing quality in the first film. In this flight, it's a space shuttle that runs into trouble. The same kind of people are on board, and the exact same illogical procedures are used to try and get the plane home, safe and sound. Peter Graves is still funny as the somewhat warped captain. Now, to give you an example of the humor in Airplane 2, in this scene, Peter Graves is introduced to the rest of his cockpit crew.
Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet your captain, Captain Over.
Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
Captain, your navigator, Mr. Unger, and your first officer, Mr. Dunn.
Unger?
Over.
Over? Done. Gentlemen, let's get to work.
Unger, didn't you serve under Over in the Air Force?
Not directly. Technically, Dunn was under Over, and I was under Dunn.
Yep.
So, Dunn, you were under Over and over Unger.
Yep. That's right. Dunn was over Unger, and I was over Dunn.
So, you see, both Dunn and I were under Over, even though I was under Dunn.
Dunn was over Unger, and I was over Dunn.
I'd rather be overdone than underdone over. But anyway, that kind of humor is nothing new. It was used in the first go-around. In the control tower, Lloyd Bridges has the same kind of action. Nothing new. Among the cameo appearances, we see Raymond Burr, Sonny Bono, Chuck Connors, and Chad Everett. William Shatner has a good part, and some of the film's funniest gags involve him. On my rating scale, Airplane 2, the sequel, rates a 6. Some parts are very funny. There are some original comic bits, but for the most part, a lot of the humor is just a carryover from the original film. What is good, though, is to watch the action in the background, the stuff behind the main interplay. It's there you will see some fresh and funny gags. Now, with all the new Christmas movies out, Airplane 2, the sequel, is good for a few laughs. It'll take you on a pretty good flight. I'm Dino Lolly. When I first heard that Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason were teaming up for a comedy, I thought it was great. But now, having seen The Toy, I'm a little disappointed. Pryor is very good, but thanks to Richard Donner's poor directing and a so-so script, Jackie Gleason's comic talents are wasted. Now, based on a French comedy written and directed by Francis Verber, The Toy is very funny at times, but other moments are slow, some of the action disproportionate and overemphasized. Richard Pryor is the true power behind the movie. He portrays an out-of-work journalist in desperate need of $10,000 to pay the mortgage on his family home. He accepts the humiliation and takes the job as a maid. He looks the part anyway with his dress and so forth, but he is fired by Jackie Gleason, a wealthy businessman, after the first day. Now later, Pryor accepts a job in one of Gleason's stores. Gleason's spoiled son is told he can have anything in the store. Well, he spots Pryor on a thing called the Wonder Wheel, and well, here's what happens.
Well, can't buy a human being, Eric.
Well, why not?
Because it's law, isn't it? Yes.
I don't want to go through life being a Wonder Wheel murderer.
Good choice, Eric.
Slave.
No! No. We're not trying to buy you.
Oh, no.
We just want to rent you for a little while.
There you go.
What is your hourly rate,
I don't have. No. By the hour.
No.
No. Now, I don't have to stay long.
Oh, no.
No.
No, he just...
And you'll give a decent barrel to Wonder Wheel.
Oh, yes.
This is my friend.
Yes.
This is light.
Well.
Thank you.
It's amazing how that green stuff can be so persuasive. Anyway, Pryor is wrapped and taken to the multi-millionaire's house. It's there we have a series of funny gags, once again with Pryor proving he is a great comic talent. The boy, Scott Schwartz, does a very good job as the little brat. As we soon learn, all the little kid really wants is the love and attention of his father, Jackie Gleason. On my rating scale, The Toy rates a 5. It's an okay film that could have been much better and funnier. Jackie Gleason is surprisingly subdued in his role. He's really not very funny. The musical score for the film is much like the ending, a bit too syrupy and sweet. Teresa Ganzo, portraying Jackie Gleason's shapely wife, has some funny scenes. Ned Beatty as Gleason's right-hand man is just average, as is everyone else's performance. There is a forced feeling about the movie, but it does have some good moments. If more could have been done to utilize Pryor's and Gleason's talents together, this would have been a really funny movie. But for now, The Toy is just another item under the tree. I'm Dino Lolly.
Five-time Oscar nominee Paul Newman heads an all-star ensemble cast in The Verdict, a 20th Century Fox release of a Zanuck Brown production of a Sidney Lumet film. The Verdict's director, Sidney Lumet, is no stranger to courtroom drama. His film directorial debut was 12 Angry Men, for which he received the first of his 3 Best Directing Oscar nominations. The others were for Dog Day Afternoon and Network. The set of The Verdict is a reunion of sorts for Lumet, with stars Paul Newman, Jack Warden, and James Mason, all of whom have worked with him before.
I've worked with him a lot before. I've worked with him, well, in the television days where he, his apprentice years were passed in television field, and he did splendid. In the golden era of American television, and you know what I mean by that. And his technique, fortunately, which he learned in live television, that's to say of rehearsing so thoroughly.
And Sidney's lovely to work with. He's so organized, and being an actor, he started off as an actor himself, that he understands actors. So when you just make a wrong move, he says, no, just bring it down a little bit or bring it up. You know, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Actor Paul Newman is himself a top director, but this doesn't affect his working relationship with Sidney Lumet.
It's a community medium, and the whole idea of the director-actor relationship is really each one feeds the other one ideas. There's no dichotomy there at all for me. I mean, as an actor, I work as a director, and as a director, I work as an actor. So.
You open your mouth, you're losing my case for me.
Now listen to me,
No, you listen to me. All I want on this trial was a fair shake, okay? Push me into court 5 days early. I lose my star witness, and I can't get a continuance, and I don't care. I'm going up there, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna let the jury decide. You know, they told me about you.
Tomorrow, a look at the characters portrayed in the film The Verdict. I'm Dino Lally.
I said to hell with it, to hell with it.
Look, Calvin, many years ago.
Come on. Hey, don't give me that about you being a lawyer, too. I know about you. You couldn't hack it as a lawyer. You were a bag man for the boys downtown, and you still are. I know about you.
Are you done?
You're damn right I'm done.
For the weekend, the film at the top of the list to see is Tootsie. It's a contemporary comedy starring Dustin Hoffman as a struggling New York actor who hits the big time in a soap opera. The twist? Well, he auditions for the soap as a woman and gets it and becomes a tremendous success. Hoffman is fantastic in his dual role. The film also stars Jessica Lange, Terry Garr, Charles Durning, and Dabney Coleman. There are no cheap laughs in Tootsie. The acting, script, and directing are superb. Rated PG, Tootsie rates a well-deserved 9. For a cute comedy, try Kiss Me Goodbye. It stars Sally Field, James Caan, and Jeff Bridges. Sally Field is a New York widow a week away from marrying Jeff Bridges, but the ghost of her late husband, James Caan, reappears to complicate things. The story is about a woman who wants to move on with her life, but can't get free of her past. Kiss Me Goodbye could have been much better, but for now it's a cute and average movie. They rated PG, I rated 5. For hardcore drama, The Verdict is a good suspense film. Heading an impressive cast is Paul Newman as a disillusioned and down-and-out attorney who takes the case of his life. Newman's role could bring him an Oscar nomination. Rated R, The Verdict on my scale rates a 7. For other films playing right now, 48 Hours is very funny. It is great. 6 Weeks and The Tory are pretty good. And that's it for now. Until next week, I'm Dino Lally. The best way to describe the romantic comedy Kiss Me Goodbye is to say it's cute. The film has some good moments, but other parts are a little slow, awkward, and just routine. Kiss Me Goodbye stars Sally Field as a young New York widow, Kay Valeno, who is getting her life started again after her husband's death 3 years earlier. Her husband is, make that was, James Caan. He was a successful Broadway choreographer, Jolly Valeno. 3 years has passed since his death, and it's now a week before Field is to marry Jeff Bridges. He portrays an Egyptologist at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This upcoming marriage does not set too well with Field's uppity mother, played by Claire Trevor. Field is trying hard to get things going for her life again. She opens her old apartment back up, but a week before her wedding, James Caan's ghost also decides to return the apartment to join Field. She is the only one who can see or hear him. Thus, most of the humor comes from Field referring to Caan, as we see in this scene that takes place during a dinner.
Oh, no, no.
What's the matter?
There's spots on these glasses.
I think you're watching too much TV, Kay.
Thank you, honey. I'll be right in.
Did you know that Jolly's last show is still running on Broadway?
I wasn't dreaming.
I love you.
Oh, God, don't say that.
Don't say what?
Don't say I love you.
Why not?
Don't say I love you with dirty dishes in your hands. It takes all the romance out of it for a lady.
The rest of the film flip-flops back and forth with its feelings and messages. It even becomes silly after a while, but still remains cute. The story is about a woman who wants to move on with her life but can't get free of her past, the memory of her first husband. And the way the filmmakers went about presenting that theme is, again, to use the word, cute. But the entire movie could have been much better and funnier. On my rating scale, Kiss Me Goodbye rates only a 5. It's an average movie that has its moments. The script is a little corny, but the acting is pretty good, and the pace of the movie moves right along to a somewhat inevitable conclusion. For a mild romantic comedy, Kiss Me Goodbye should do the trick. I'm Dino Lally. Of all the movies playing right now, Tootsie is the one to see. It's very funny and convincing. The acting is superb. Sidney Pollack's direction is right on target. The film has charm, poise, and confidence. To describe the movie as director Pollack did, it goes like this. Tootsie is the story of a guy who puts on a dress and by doing so becomes a better man. I will explain for those who don't understand. Dustin Hoffman stars as a struggling but dedicated New York actor, Michael Dorsey. He has earned a reputation for being difficult, so he doesn't have much acting work. So to help make ends meet, he works as a waiter and drama coach. His career is, to say the least, frustrating. And after a confrontation with his agent, who, by the way, is portrayed by the director of the movie, Sidney Pollack, Hoffman realizes he must do something unusual and spectacular to get things moving.
Nobody will hire you.
Are you saying that nobody in New York will work with me?
Oh, no, that's too limited. Nobody in Hollywood wants to work with you either. I can't even send you up for a commercial. You played a tomato for 30 seconds. They went a half a day over schedule because you wouldn't sit down.
Yes, it wasn't logical.
You were a tomato! A tomato doesn't have logic. A tomato can't move.
That's what I said. So if he can't move, how's he gonna sit down, George? I was a stand-up tomato, a juicy, sexy beefsteak tomato. Nobody does vegetables like me. I did an evening of vegetables off Broadway. I did the best tomato, the best cucumber. I did an endive salad that knocked the critics on their...
Michael, I'm trying to stay calm here. You are a wonderful actor.
Thank you.
But you're too much trouble. You've got one of the worst reputations in this town, Michael. No one will hire you.
Oh, yeah?
So that's what he does. He auditions for a leading soap opera as a woman. Now, I know this sounds weird, but it works. Everything is believable. Michael Dorsey becomes Dorothy Michaels. She is outspoken, picky, dainty, and genuinely likable. And as Dorothy, the fame and success of acting are now at hand. He has made a name for himself, but it's not his name. And this new character allows him to express certain feelings and qualities that were otherwise difficult for him before. Dorothy Michaels becomes a big celebrity because she is different, candid, and at times very blunt. Now, naturally, Hoffman doing what he's doing creates a lot of problems. He can't spend a lot of time with his girlfriend, Terry Garr. In the meantime, Hoffman is falling in love with the soap opera star, Jessica Lange. I can't blame him there. She is dating TV director Dabney Coleman. Jessica Lange's father, Charles Durning, and soap doctor George Gaines fall in love with Dorothy, and those are just a few of the many complications that are beautifully set up and expertly played out. On my rating scale, Tootsie rates a 9. Every single performance works perfectly in this movie, with top honors going to Hoffman. He's great in his Tootsie role. There are no cheap laughs in Tootsie. The film is not risque, it's just good. The characters are believable. There are serious moments, and other parts of the movie are simply hilarious. The film has something to say. It is definitely worth your time and money. I'm Dino Lally. The Dark Crystal is an exciting movie, technically. The artists and performers have put together a unique film that is wonderful just to sit back and watch. Although this film has its share of humor, some parts might even scare some of the kids, though. Jim Henson's goal in making The Dark Crystal was to create a whole new world where the creatures would seem alive. In my opinion, he has succeeded brilliantly. The story of The Dark Crystal is one we've seen before, the battle between good and evil. This new world is dominated by the evil Skeksis. They are in command, at least for the time being. They rule by virtue of their possession of the Dark Crystal. Two gelflings, Jen and Kira, are on a mission to defeat the monstrous Skeksis. They are awaiting a conjunction of the world's 3 suns. If this conjunction takes place, the Skeksis will rule forever. Jen and Kira are trying to replace a shard in the Dark Crystal before all of this happens. If they fail, the world will remain an evil place. Among all the characters besides the gelflings, Jen and Kira, and the Skeksis, we have the Gartham Warriors, who look like giant cockroaches. We also have Land Striders, the tall and fast-moving creatures that carry the 2 gelflings to their destination. We have the memorable Agra, a one-eyed female prophet of sorts. Now here we see her mistakenly brought before the Skeksis in a dinner scene, which brought back memories of eating with some of my old fraternity brothers. One character I just can't forget is Fizzgig, a very small bundle of fur with a big mouth.
Here, dole. Oh, all right. Come on.
Wouldn't you just like to get him and drop kick him about 50 yards? Well, he's cute anyway. Henson and his colleagues have done a remarkable job in this movie. The movements of the characters and overall action are great. Now here, one of the outcast Skeksis tries to talk Jen and Kira into coming into the castle and working out a deal.
I'm outcast. If I make peace, I'm outcast no more.
Will you stop the Gotham attacks?
Yes, please. Come to the castle. Please, show them you want peace. Show them Gelflings will not harm us. Please, please, please.
Jen! No.
Come, please, please. Yes, please. Yes.
No!
Jen and Kira have to overcome many obstacles to achieve their final goal. They also provide a small romantic interest. On my rating scale, the Dark Crystal rates an 8. Jim Henson has created an unforgettable world with unforgettable characters. The film's even balance of good and bad creatures works very well. The kids will love the Gelflings, the slow-moving mystics, and the Podlings. The Dark Crystal is a remarkable fantasy adventure for all ages. It is fun, it has a message, the film is timeless. I'm Dino Lally. Generally speaking, audiences like a story where a down-and-out good guy goes against all odds and the bad guys and at least tries to beat the system. And it's on this basis that The Verdict has its wide appeal. The film has impressive performances, and Paul Newman's portrayal of a disillusioned ambulance-chasing Boston attorney should bring him an Oscar nomination. Newman's character is Frank Gallivan. Once a top-flight, well-respected attorney, he's now a down-and-out alcoholic whose legal practice consists of soliciting clients at funerals. Newman's colleague, Jack Warden, lets him in on a case that could bring him out of this low-life existence. As Newman himself says,
"There are no other cases. This is the case. There are no other cases. This is the case."
The case involves a woman who, after being given the wrong anesthetic while delivering a baby, is turned into a vegetable. The woman's sister, after 4 years of anguish, decides to sue the hospital and the Catholic Church, which owns the hospital. Just when Newman really gets started working on the case, the hospital offers him an out-of-court settlement to the sum of $210,000. But after seeing the victim in the hospital and being convinced that the hospital and church are trying to cover up medical malpractice, Newman refuses the money and heads for court. This battle means a lot to him. It's a way to find personal and professional redemption. But everything seems to go against him. Even the judge is against Newman. And here he explains to the judge, played by Milo O'Shea, that all he wants is a fair shake.
Listen to me. All I want on this trial was a fair shake. Okay? Push me into court 5 days early. I lose my star witness, and I can't get a continuance, and I don't care. I'm going up there, I'm going to try it, I'm going to let the jury decide. You know, they told me about you. Said you're a hard-ass defendant's judge. No, I don't care. I said to hell with it, to hell with it.
Look, Galvin, many years ago...
Come on. Hey, don't give me that about you being a lawyer, too. I know about you. You couldn't hack it as a lawyer. You were a bag man for the boys downtown, and you still are. I know about you.
Are you done?
You're damn right I'm done.
That-a-way, you tell him, Paul. Jack Warden, as Newman's friend, does his regular good job. James Mason, as the prestigious and somewhat immoral attorney, matching wits against Newman, puts in a powerful performance. As the love interest, Charlotte Rampling is almost wasted in her role. This is a fault of the script. The subplot causes the film's pace to slow down quite a bit. We see Newman's personal problems with his new girlfriend, but this is Paul Newman's movie. His outstanding performance is realistic and believable. Also impressive is Lindsay Krause as a nurse who brings all the details together at the film's end. On my rating scale, The Verdict gets a 7. This is an impressive movie, which, after all is said and done, could have been better. The pace could have moved a little faster, and too much is predictable. The Verdict is straightforward and should make you think about some of the moral issues contained in it. I'm Dino Lally. Still of the Night is another one of those suspense movies that tries to be as good as the old Hitchcock thrillers. The film tries, is somewhat successful in parts, but overall it doesn't compare to the old master's films. Still of the Night is a contemporary romantic suspense film about a psychiatrist, Sam Rice, played by Roy Scheider. One of his patients, Joseph Summer, is murdered. Not too long after he is killed, Scheider receives a visitor, a mysterious and subdued woman, Brooke Reynolds, played by Meryl Streep. She returns a watch belonging to the recently murdered patient. She seems nervous and anxious and really loses her cool when a detective comes to question Scheider about the murder.
This morning, but there wasn't any answer. I'm Detective Joseph at Tootsie, Homicide Central. I wanted...
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Don't worry. This girl gets shaken very easily. We then get a series of flashbacks as Scheider rereads his notes covering Summers' case. And through those notes, we learn that Summers jilted another mistress for Streep. She just had recently started working with Summer at an auctioneering house. Through more study of Summers' sessions, particularly where he talks about a recurring dream and his own detective work on Streep, Scheider soon suspects her of the murder. But there's a problem. He's falling in love with Streep, and he doesn't want to believe it's true. Near the film's end, when all is about to be revealed, Scheider finds Streep hiding in her parents' house.
All right. It was wrong for me to go through your desk. I'm sorry about that. I mean, I can understand how you feel.
How can you understand how I feel? You don't know anything about me.
You're right. I don't know anything about you. But I know this much. I know the police think you killed George Bynum.
What do you think? Do you think I killed him?
When we find out who the killer actually is, it's a letdown. That is, if you haven't already figured it out. The plot has many holes, but the journey isn't that bad. The film is well photographed and has an eerie feeling about it, which adds to the suspense. The correct style for this kind of movie is there. Director Robert Benton uses wit, humor, and legitimate scary moments proportionately and in the right places. He draws good performances out of Roy Scheider and Joseph Summer, Jessica Tandy as Scheider's mother, and Sarah Botsford as a carefree worker at the auction house. Meryl Streep is good, but I have seen her in better performances. Still, the Night rates a 6 on my rating scale. There is too much coincidence and illogical action to completely make the entire film work. If you're in the mood for a serious whodunit, then this film might satisfy your needs. But if you're looking for a great action-packed, stylish, psychological thriller, I don't think Still of the Night can fill the bill. I'm Dino Lawley. It's still the sensation of the Christmas movie season, and I'm still recommending it. Tootsie is a smartly acted and bright comedy about an out-of-work New York actor, Dustin Hoffman. He's depressed and desperate for work. The answer to his problems? Impersonate a woman. He does, and lands a job on a leading soap opera and becomes the working girl's new culture heroine. Dustin Hoffman puts in a remarkable performance. Co-stars are Jessica Lange, Charles Durning, and Dabney Coleman. Rated PG, Tootsie rates a well-deserved 9. And while I'm talking about comedies, if you haven't seen 48 Hours, you're missing a good one. It's a fast-moving, energized, offbeat, and well-made film. It stars Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy as detective and con tracking down some violent criminals. 48 Hours is funny, violent, and contains rough language. Rated R, 48 Hours gets an 8. For hardcore drama, The Verdict will work. It stars Paul Newman as a disillusioned Boston attorney whose last chance at resurrecting his shaky career comes in taking a case no one thinks he can win. Newman and James Mason both put in powerful performances. Rated R on their scale, I give The Verdict a 7. For mediocre films rating a 5 or 6 and so forth, try Trail of the Pink Panther, Still of the Night, and Kiss Me Goodbye. The Dark Crystal is also a very good film, not only for the kids, but I think the parents will enjoy it too. And that's it. I hope you have a nice movie-watching weekend. Until next week, I'm Dino Lawley. When you've got the #1 male box office star, Burt Reynolds, and the #2 female box office star, Goldie Hawn, you would think the result would be a great movie. Wrong. Best Friends is supposed to be a light romantic comedy, and it does fit into that category at certain times. But disappointment is the key word to describe their endeavor. The two play a couple of Hollywood screenwriters. They live together without any problem at all. That is, until they decide to get married. And just from that alone, you can probably figure out the rest of the movie. They have a good professional and personal relationship until marriage enters in. Then the problems start. One switch that might surprise you is that in this case, it's the man who pushes the woman down the aisle. Goldie Hawn is a little hesitant to do all this, but she finally gives in. The marriage is quick, to the point, very funny. What is it? It's a Mexican-American ceremony. What follows next is telling the parents the good news. Both sets of parents are a little zany. Now, all the characters and actresses involved are believable and convincing in their roles. The newly married couple first arrive in Buffalo, New York to see Goldie Hawn's parents. It's cold, and later the relationship becomes the same way. Here, Burt Reynolds is tucked into bed by his mother-in-law, Jessica Tandy.
Have you any laundry that needs washing out? Any dirty underwear?
No.
Well, I just wanted a moment to tell you how happy we are. Paula's very precious to us.
Well, I love your daughter very much.
Well, that's all that matters. Nighty-night. Would you like me to leave the hall light on?
No.
Good night, then. Sweet dreams.
If you're wondering where Goldie is, well, she's in her room. You see, although she and Reynolds are married, her parents still have strange feelings about them sleeping together. Right. Best Friends was written by a talented husband and wife team, Valerie Curtin and Barry Levinson. And presumably, Best Friends was supposed to be based, in part, on their relationship. The film's funniest moments are stripped of their full impact because of the serious issues the couple faces from society, family, and friends on being married. Reynolds and Hahn have their good moments, particularly toward the end of the film. But I did get tired of all the scenes where they did nothing but gripe at each other. On my rating scale, Best Friends gets a 5. What comes across is not a story of the progress, fall, and restoration of a relationship, but it all seems to be one big joke. I really think Reynolds and Hahn are miscast. The balance between comedy and drama is uneven, and it definitely shows. I'm Dino Lawley.